Hello and welcome to today's Bitrix24 webinar Next Level CRM. Thank you for joining today. Okay, so we'll just go through some introductions. My name is Sam Connor. I'm part of the Bitrix24 sales team here at Interface, and we're based in the UK, the US and Hong Kong. And we offer a full range of services to help you with Bitrix24, starting off with pre-sales support, so we can help to discuss your requirements in detail and see if Bitrix24 could be a good fit for what you're trying to achieve. We can then set up the system for you and build any custom requirements that you have into the system. If you're looking at an on-premise edition, we can provide our own hosting services, and then we provide training and ongoing support to ensure you get the most out of the Bitrix24 system. Okay, so if you're new to Bitrix24, let's just go through what Bitrix24 actually is. So Bitrix24 is a collaboration tool with in excess now of 35 different modules that you can use to help you in managing your business. There are over 10 million customers now around the world that use the Bitrix24 system, and it is voted within the top 10 CRMs globally each year, and specifically today we will be focusing on the CRM functionality. And as previously mentioned, it is available in two different editions, so we have the Bitrix Cloud and the Bitrix24 self-hosted solution. And prices start from around $49 per month right now for a cloud-based system. That will be going up shortly in August. And for a self-hosted edition, that starts at $2,990 for a lifetime license. Okay, so today's webinar, Next Level CRM. So we're going to be focusing on the CRM module. So it's first of all important to understand why we should use Bitrix24 as a CRM tool. So we can use this as a marketing platform. So we have a marketing module to be able to send out very targeted marketing campaigns to our prospects. We can capture and qualify leads very quickly, and we can automate the creation of those leads into the CRM system, which we'll have a look at shortly. You can then work through your own bespoke sales pipeline, so you can create your own custom stages and automations to really make your sales process as efficient as possible. And you can build a 360-degree picture of customer activity by integrating lots of different platforms via the contact center, which we're going to have a look at in a second. And then we can monitor teams' effectiveness through forecasting sales and detailed reports for the organization. Okay, so in today's webinar, we're going to be focusing, first of all, looking at the ways we can generate leads in the system. We'll then do an overview of the CRM, and then we'll go through a whole case study from generating a new lead through to closing a sale opportunity. And then we'll look at the reporting tools as well. Okay, so first of all, when you're looking at the Bitrix24 system, it's really important to understand and to use a variety of tools to generate leads into your CRM system. So here we can see a selection of ways we can generate those leads, from importing manually. We can generate leads through live chats, social networks such as Facebook and Instagram. Web forms are very popular, so we'll look at how the form generator tool can work for you. There is also telephony, so if a new call comes into the system which isn't associated for a number to a lead or a contact, we could automate a new lead in the system. Then we have the sites and CRM marketing pieces here, so we could generate a brand new landing page that we send a user to from a marketing campaign, and on that site we could then generate a CRM form which could then automatically create a new lead in the system. So you can start to see how some of these different features can be used together to generate you leads inside the Bitrix CRM system. Now let's go into the CRM system. And let's just take a look at some of those contact center tools in some more detail. So we mentioned how we can integrate live chats, for example. So you can connect a live chat module onto your website. We could also use the web form designer tool. So here we can see a web form feature, So what we can do inside here is we can generate our own forms by adding fields to the form from our CRM system. And then we can choose the embedding option for that particular form. So if we go to our website, for example, what we can see is we can see our live chat tool set up on the system. So I could message someone. Or what we could do is we could maybe book a demonstration. So we could go to the form down here and fill in our information. So you can start to see how some of these contact center tools can be invaluable to engage with your potential customers as they hit your website. And that's really important for then generating new leads inside the system. Okay, other features which would be really useful to use within the CRM are integrations of your email systems into Bitrix. So with this feature, you can connect your mailboxes directly into the Bitrix24 system. So you can connect those, and then you can see all of the email communication that has taken place with your prospects and your leads inside the system. So this becomes a real valuable tool to understand the communications that have taken place with your customers. We mentioned as well how we could use the marketing module to generate those leads. So we could send out a campaign with information to a specific landing page, for example. So the marketing module can be really useful for trying to generate those leads and progressing them through your sales pipeline. So if we just go into the marketing campaign section, if we wanted to create an email campaign, you can see here the different types of templates that we could use to generate that campaign. And this then opens up a designer page very similar to other marketing platforms. So inside here I can customize my marketing campaign. Okay, I can add my images. So it uses block technology here to develop your email campaign. And then I could send this out to all of my leads, for example, or for a very targeted section of my leads based on the different pieces of information which are pulling in from the CRM system. Or you can import list information as well if you want to send out to brand new contacts. And once we've sent that out, we could then send them, say, for example, to our website. And from there, we can use those live chat tools and the website form to then connect with our potential prospects inside the CRM system. So that gives you a good idea of how we can generate new leads inside the system. If you have any questions as we go through today's webinar, please do add them into the YouTube box and we can go through those during today's intervals. So let's just see, before we move on to look at the module overview, let's just see if we have any questions. Okay, how can I send out an automated email to a lead from a form? So we're going to actually have a look at the lead database in this section here where we go through the entire module. So let's now take a look at this in more detail. Okay, so let's now go into the leads database. So it's important to understand the different modules within the Bitrix CRM system and how those can connect together. So first of all, inside the Bitrix CRM system, we have leads. And leads are to be used to qualify new inquiries. So inside our lead database here, we can see the leads, the status, and some more information about those leads. Now, you can decide what information you would like to show in the front end of this lead database. So I can customize the layout and I can change the information that I would like to show in this database here. And the way leads work is we can see the different stages our leads are at here. What we need to do is qualify those leads through those different stages. So we can see here we have new leads that have come in. We can then see leads at the arrange call stage, so we need to arrange a call to discuss their inquiry in more detail. If they have any questions, we can then move them to the question stage, and so on. So it's a way of really filtering those inquiries to actually see what inquiries have potential. What can we turn into a genuine sales opportunity? So rather than having a new opportunity for every single inquiry, when some of those you realistically they're not genuine sales opportunities, so you don't want them in your deals pipelines, the lead section allows you to filter out those poor inquiries and to get rid of those. So this is one way of viewing leads in the list display, but we also have a Kanban display as well. So inside here we can see the leads using the stages across the top here, and then I can progress our leads through those different stages like so. A really nice feature within leads, and this comes back to the question that we had, is we can set up automation rules. So let's say, for example, if a web form was submitted, what we could do is we could automatically have that come in here as a new inquiry. And then from there, what we could do is we could automatically send out a welcome email to them. And we can dynamically populate it with that lead's information from the information they submitted on that form. So that can be automated. So that can save you and your sales team time. You don't need to be manually sending out thank you and confirmation emails. You can let the automation rules do that for you. And then, for example, if we're still at this stage in a period of time, we could send out a follow-up email trying to get them to move forward with the inquiry. Or it could be we create activities for our internal team. So here we can send a task for the responsible person to set up. So there's lots of ways we can automate activities using automation rules. And if we just have a look at what the lead page looks like, so on the left hand side we can see all of the lead details. We can add custom fields to capture specific details and information. And then on the right hand side, this is where the activity stream comes into play with those connections from the contact center. So we mentioned around email integration. If we integrate emails, we can see all of the communications that have taken place via email. We can also add notes and any documents and activity. So if you wanted to attach some documents here, all of that can be saved inside the page as well. So essentially this page here gives you all of the information you need about that lead. You don't need to be looking and speaking with another colleague and then going through emails and then looking at maybe your shared documents. Everything about a lead can be saved in that one page, which will save you so much time. So if I progress the lead through those different stages, we can now see that has created a task in the system using those automation rules. And then once we have hopefully qualified those leads through those different stages that we've mentioned, and as I mentioned, those stages are completely customizable, by the way, so you could have as many or as few stages as you require. The terminology, the color can be completely customized for how you would want that to work. But hopefully once we've qualified that lead, now what we need to do is we need to convert that lead into a different entity in the CRM. And we can decide how we would like to convert that entity. So for example, we may just want to create a deal. But really what we should do is create a deal on the contact record so they are linked together. And if this contact is associated with a company, we could also create a company as well. So we can now see how we can start to create those different entities that we can see up here from the lead. And when we generate a deal, what we can then also do is we can move that deal into a specific pipeline. And this is based on the licenses. So with the on-premise, you can have unlimited pipelines. With the professional cloud, you can have unlimited. On any lower tier cloud license, you are restricted to the number of pipelines that you can create. But pipelines essentially allow you to segment your sales opportunities. So here we can see we're segmenting in pipelines based on geographical location. But it could be, let's say, if you're a realtor, it could be you have a rental pipeline and a sales pipeline. So we have those different ways to differentiate those sales opportunities. And then from there, we can create our deals, our contacts, and our companies. So let's go into contacts. Okay, so inside the contact database, when we've converted a lead, we can see all of our contact records. And again, you can change the layout of this, change what information is displayed. And we've got a multi-filter search tool. So I can drill down onto leads of contacts of certain segments, for example. So you can drill down into that information and you can save those filters. And if we click into a contact, We can then see all of the contacts details. We can see the companies they're associated to. And within the Bitrix CRM, you can associate a contact to multiple companies. And then on the right hand side, we can see all of that history and activity with the contact. And you can filter through all of that information as well. If you've got a lot of activity saved, this could be a good idea if you're wanting to drill down to find specific details and information. Okay, so let's look at a contact, and if we go into the company page, you can then see very similar structure and layout here. The key difference is you can associate multiple contacts with the company. And then within the contact here, we can see all of the deals opportunities. So we'll go into deals in a second, but we're able to see all of those different deals and sales opportunities that the contact is associated with. And we can then see this at a very high level. So we can see the value of all of the deals won with that contact. We can see the conversion rates based on those number of deals. And we can see the different channels that we're using to communicate with our contacts. So there's lots of different pieces of information we can get in the contact page. If you are very used to and know the CRM very well, you will have noticed there have been some UI changes to the way information is displayed in the CRM. So rather than having contacts and companies as headers across the top, those are both stored now under the customers header. So you can see contacts, companies, and also the contact center, which we were looking at earlier on. So if you're just a bit confused where maybe your contacts or companies have gone, they're underneath the customer header there. And then we can connect those contacts and companies with deals. And deals is where we get the work done essentially on those sales opportunities. So here we mentioned how you can create different pipelines. So we can see those pipelines like so. So I'm currently in our UK office pipeline. So we can create our different stages for progressing those sales opportunities through. And we can then see the value of each of those stages for the pipeline. But what's really useful, let's say if I go into our USA pipeline, the stages that we progress the sales opportunity through can be completely different, and so can the automation rules. So it could be you might want to use pipelines for different services, for example, maybe an after sales service, for example. You could create those stages inside here for progressing through different stages of a workflow, as another example. So we can then see all of those deals opportunities inside the system. And let's just have a look at one of these in more detail. So if we go into a deal, we can see that the contact is associated with the opportunity. Again, we've got the activity section on the right hand side. But the key difference here is we can then add products into our deals to generate a value for that particular product. And then from there, we can generate quotes and financial documents associated with that particular product on the deal. So we can go into our quote generating tool, and this will pull through that product information that we had stored earlier on, or we can select additional products as well, for example. So let's add some new products into this particular quote. And then from there, what we can do is we can upload our own templates. So you may have quote templates, for example. So from here, what we can do is we can use the document generator tool to generate our own personalized documents inside the system. So if I create a new quote, this will now map the information from the deal onto our quote, and we can then progress that quote through different stages. So just like in leads and deals, you can do the same for your quotes and invoicing. So we can create different stages, and we can then set up automation rules as well, which is really useful. So let's say if we've sent a quote and we're waiting on the client, we've set up an automation here. So in 2 days time, we need to get back in touch with that customer to see if the quote has been approved. So this is a really useful, a real life example of how you could use automation rules to streamline your sales process. And then from there, rather than having to go into see all of that information, then what we can do is we can see all of our quotes and invoices inside our CRM. They have their own sections in the database, so I can see all of those quotes in the system. I might want to drill down onto those quotes of a certain stage, or maybe those of a certain value. So you can really quickly drill down into information, and all of this information is connected back to your contacts and companies inside the system. And then we'll look at analysis of the data in more detail shortly, but we do have the analytics area, so let's just bring that back into our menu so you can see how easy it is to customize the menu here. From here we can then start to analyze all of the data from the CRM system, so we can build dashboard reports based on the data that is inside our CRM system. Okay there, so that's a look at how we can use the different modules inside the Bitrix24 CRM. Now, before we go on to look at a case study, I do just want to show you an additional feature that has been released fairly recently by Bitrix24, and this is called Smart Process Automation. So Smart Process Automation essentially allows you to create new entities inside the Bitrix24 CRM system, and you can decide how that entity talks with existing entities inside the CRM system. So do you want an entity to connect with a contact or a deal, for example? You can create new processes directly inside here. So for example, a really good example of how this could work is that you may want to have a feedback module within your CRM system. So you could send a form to your customers who maybe you've completed a sale with recently, and you may want to capture information from those people. So using Smart Process Automation, what we have done here is we have created a feedback module. So what we can then do is we can create a form which we send out to our customers who have completed a sale, and we can then get them to submit information from that form, which then feeds into our feedback module here. And you can see we've created different stages. So we've got general feedback, urgent feedback, and then once we've completed the feedback process, we can move it to the completed stage. And once again, just like leads and deals, we can create different automation rules as we're progressing through those different stages. And it looks very similar to leads and deals in terms of the page. So if I click into one of these pieces of feedback here, we have the same kind of layout with custom fields on the left hand side and then activity stream on the right hand side. But what's really useful here is how it can connect back with your existing entities. So if I go back into a contact page, I can now see all of the feedbacks that Sanmoon has submitted into the system. So you can see how those new modules you can create can be interlinked with existing entities inside the system for you to create brand new entities and processes inside the CRM. So if you have any questions about how you could maybe use smart processes in your business, please do contact sales@interface.com. Okay, let's just see if we've got any more questions. Okay, so going back to the contact center features we looked at, a question's come in here: can I pick up live chats on the mobile application? So it's a really good question, and yes, absolutely you can do, and that's a really good way of managing live chats because it maybe you're not in the office at a specific time, so it's critical you can pick up a live chat on the mobile app so you can respond to that person and they would receive that message. Say if they're on your website, even if you're messaging on the mobile app, you would be having that message relayed to the customer so they could respond to you live as you're using the Bitrix mobile app. So that's a really good way of using the live chat system. Okay, so moving on now, let's go through a case study. So we'll look at how we can generate a new lead in the system, and then we'll progress through different activities and generate a new quote and hopefully close that new sales opportunity and look at the analysis on reporting. Okay. So we mentioned quite a few different ways we can generate leads inside the Bitrix24 CRM system. So one way we can do this is by using a web form. And as I say, a web form could be embedded onto your website, or we can connect existing forms. If you don't have Bitrix forms, we can connect via webhooks for existing forms that you have on your website. So let's say, for example, I'm going to submit this form in the system. Now, first thing we're going to be going to see inside here is we're going to go into the CRM system, and we can see we've been notified a new inquiry has been submitted. So I can see that's populated now at the top of our lead database. So I'm going to go into this lead and see extra details now. So you can see it's populated all of the information about the lead, and we're going to update the title here. So this could be done through automations if you wanted it to. And I'm now going to add some notes about this lead. I'm going to move it to the arrange a call stage. Okay, so I'm adding some notes, and I'm going to tag a colleague so they're aware I'm working on this new lead in the system. And so if you have integrated telephony and you've got a number for the lead, you would be able to call them through here if you rented a Bitrix24 number, for example. And I'm going to say I've spoken with the lead, and I'm going to now send them an email just to confirm what we've discussed. So you can see how lots of these different integrations already start to come into play. From website form, creating the lead, we've got the email integration so I can communicate directly through the Bitrix system. Okay, we just type out this message. You can also have templated emails, so if you wanted to, this information could already be populated to save you time, or you could send a personal email as well. Okay, so let's send that now out to Sarah, and that history will be saved inside the system here. So you can see that has now been sent, and we can see who's responsible for any of this activity as well. Let's say now we've come back with some questions, we're now looking good, and I'm going to complete these different tasks that we have now completed. And let's now complete the lead. And I'm just going to make a note so I know what product they're interested in. Okay, so maybe if I'm speaking with a colleague, then I can make them aware what pipeline we need to send this particular lead into. So Lucy's aware. So let's convert this deal and contacts. Mentioning how it needs to go into the UK pipeline. So we're going to save that deal in the UK pipeline. Okay, fantastic. So now we've generated that new deal opportunity. You can see the contact has automatically been brought through, and I now need to complete this call to discuss the proposal in more detail. So that's been automatically added into my tasks. So I'm going to now select the service that they're interested in, and when they're interested in having this particular service. So I'm going to populate the information, and these can be mandatory fields as well. So as we progress through different stages, if there's pieces of information that are critical, you can have that automatically saved inside the system. So they can't progress the deal past a certain stage until that information has been inputted. Okay, so now let's go into here, and we're going to select the plan. So we're going to have the 90-day training subscription, and let's save that information. And then from there, we can go through those different stages. I'm going to just add some notes. So he's happy to receive a quote. So let's save that information. So you've got all of this history inside here, and you can filter through any of this information as well to find any notes, for example, or you can free text search as well. So if I wanted to, I could drill down to find information. So we're looking for quotes. I can see that information like so. So let's now build out our quote. And this is going to pull in that product information that we've saved inside the deal. Okay, so we can see that information like so. And I'm now going to generate the quote using our template tool. So this is mapping information from our template. So it's brought through that product information. Now I could send this out via email, or I could download this. I'm going to download that. and send it out shortly. And I'm now going to say we're waiting on the client. So hopefully we can set up automation rules to make sure we're progressing these particular quotes as quickly as possible. So the quote has been approved, and now I'm going to generate an invoice using very similar functionality here. So again, we can generate invoice templates and map information onto here, and we can create different stages as well. So I'm going to say that's been completed. And what's really useful here is everything is linked back with the deal. So we can go back into here, we can see the deal this is associated with. So if we go back into the deal page, we're going to move to the invoicing stage, and you can see all of the invoices and quotes that the deal is associated with, like so. Okay, now I'm going to confirm the deal has been won. I've got some conditional fields I need to input, so you can see how we can make sure information is saved inside the system. And if we go back into the contact page, we can then see that deal has been linked back with our contact inside the system. Okay, so we can see how we can progress a lead from how we can progress an inquiry from the form into a lead and then convert into a deal, which is then connected with that contact. Now, one thing I wanted to just come back to is the deal pipeline view, because this is really useful as we progress our deals through different stages. That will automatically, if you have a value associated with a deal, it will automatically update the value at that stage. So you can, for your forecasting, this is a really good view to use. So you can see how close we are to closing new sales opportunities, how much value is at each stage. And we can do that for every single pipeline that we're working on. Okay, so now we'll move on to look at some of the reporting tools. So let's look at the different filters that we've seen. We'll then look at the different ways we can view information, which is really important. So we'll look at the list in Kanban view, and then we'll go into the CRM analytics module. Okay, so in leads and deals, we've briefly mentioned already around the different ways you can view information. So inside here, we have a list and a Kanban view. Now in the list view, you can change the whole layout of this information here, and you can change what pieces of information you would like to show. And once you've got this laid out exactly how you want it to, you can then export this information into Excel. And as we mentioned, we do have the Kanban view, so that's really useful because this will update the value at those different stages as we're progressing our opportunities and deals. So we can see the value. So this is my favorite view. This is a really good view to use. And in both of these views, you can filter down. So I might want to look at all of the deals of a certain sales agent. So I can see what they're working on right now, for example. So essentially within Bitrix24, there is not just one way you can do reporting. Reporting is in lots of different areas of the CRM system. And then we can go into CRM analytics here. And this then enables you to see analysis on lots of different areas of your CRM. So let's say employee performance. You may set sales targets for your teams, for example. So I could drill down and look at, say, certain time periods, maybe certain pipelines, and we can then see all of the analysis from our teams. Now, it could be you want to actually set sales targets. It's also possible inside the system. And there are lots of different areas we can report on, from lead analysis through to building your own dashboard based on the different activities inside your CRM system. So we could set sales targets for different members of our teams. So you can see here lots of different ways we can do reporting. And there's also a report wizard. So the report wizard allows you to essentially build your own reports from scratch. So inside here, I can build out, so I can choose the area I want to report on. And then from here, I can start to populate the report with information. So I can add a name and a description for the report. And then I can choose what pieces of information I want to add into the columns on here. So this will show you every single custom field that you've created in the CRM in that area. And then I can select and create filters to drill down on information. And then I can create my report. So rather than having dashboards, you can also just manually create reports using the report wizard tool here. Okay, so let's just see if we've got any further questions. Okay, so question coming here, is there a limit to the number of pipelines that I can have for deals? So yes, there is. So if you are on a Bitrix24 Cloud Professional or any on-premise edition, you can create as many pipelines as you require. If you're on a basic or a standard cloud license, there are limitations. So I think on the standard, you can have up to 10 pipelines, for example, and on the basic, it's 1. So you are restricted based on the license type that you have. And then just to discuss a bit more then about the differences between the cloud and the self-hosted. So both instances include leads, deals, invoicing and reporting. You can set up custom record layouts as well. And on the on-premise and the professional cloud, you can set up automation rules and business processes for your sales activity. Now, a key difference is with the self-hosted, it is possible to fully customize, so we can integrate with other systems, we can connect via APIs, and you also have access to the source code. So if there's a piece of requirement that you have which requires the code, you would need the self-hosted solution. Okay, so in summary today, in the Next Level CRM webinar, we've looked at how we can generate new leads through lots of different tools such as marketing, then connecting our live chat and website forms on sites to feed information into the CRM. We've seen a lot how we can use automation in leads and deals to streamline our activity and save time for our sales team. And we can get that 360-degree view of the activity with our customer through integrations such as email and telephony. And then we've seen how there's lots of different areas for analysis, for forecasting, setting targets, and reporting on your sales activity. Okay, so thanks very much for your time today. Here are a selection of our up-and-coming webinars. We're here every other Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, so I hope you're able to join on the next Bitrix24 webinar. If you have any questions in the meantime, please do contact sales@intraface.com. We'll be happy to set up a meeting with you to discuss your questions and requirements in more detail. Okay, thanks very much for your time today. Bye for now.